it's not just going to affect you. It's going to have an effect on everyone that comes around you, because there is an effect, there is an evidence that happens when you have been touched by the fire of God. There is an evidence that takes place in your heart, in your life, that you can't hide. You can't hide the evidence of the fire. You can't stand down the fire. But it's your responsibility to sustain it. Say, it's my responsibility to sustain the fire. The fire never goes out because there is a priest who understands his responsibility, and his responsibility is to throw more wood. The more the fire begins to come down, he begins to throw more wood. He never allows the fire to go out. He understands his mantle. He understands his responsibility. He understands the cost. He understands what it takes. There was no fast trip for him to go and buy cut wood. The priest had to go into the wilderness.
Come on.
Yes.
The priest had to go into the wilderness, roll up his sleeves, gird up his loins, and he had to grab an axe and begin to chop and hack the wood. And once he hacked the wood, he had to cut it into smaller pieces so that there was always wood for the fire can remain burning. Everybody wants to fire, but not everybody wants to pray. Everybody wants to fire, but not everybody wants to get in their word. Everybody wants to fire. They want to see miracles. They want revival. But they don't want to get on their face and cry out to God. The priest understands his responsibility. His responsibility, well, one of them is to sustain the fire. I got this cry on the inside of me that wants to see the fire of God, and not just in me, but in my wife, in my son, in my family, in my sister, in my nephews. I want to see the fire of God, because I believe that today God's going to touch you in a way that's going to burn off anything that don't belong. Because the first thing fire does is that it begins to burn off everything in its way. The fire begins to rearrange the landscape. It begins to change the ecosystem. It begins to change the climate. It begins to change the temperature. It begins to change the warmth. It begins to change everything. Now, if you know anything about a forest fire or a wildfire begins to burn anything in its way. It don't ask for permission. It just burns. I'm tired of living dry. I'm tired of living far from God. I want the fire of God. When was the last time we got wood and said, God, I want the fire. I'm hungry. Bam. I hear a lot of people say, man, I remember back in the day when I was on fire for God. Deep down in my soul, I'm like, well, where's it at? Oh, where'd you leave it at? Because my God is a consuming fire. In other words, his fire doesn't go down. It continues to burn and continues to burn and continues to burn. And if you stop burning, my friend, oh, you have stopped in putting your wood on the fire. God doesn't go down. No, his flame doesn't diminish, brother. It's an increasing flame. It's a consuming fire. He never stops. No, he's a consuming fire. So I ask you, where's the fire? I ask you today, where's the fire? I ask you today, where's your wood? Where's your wood? Where's your wood? You know where it's at? It's on your lap. It's that word that we quote and we post on Snapchat and post good scriptures, but we never dig in because we're hungry and we're thirsty for God.